back there, sir. All right, Scotsman. You know they don't like to spend much money.
That's right.
You know, so this friend of McTavish has been on for 2 years to buy a raffle ticket. 2 years. And he finally relents and buys it. And he wins the booby prize this morning. He's so happy. A toilet brush. So 2 weeks later, his best pal, hey McTavish, how you getting on with that toilet brush you want? Oh, it's okay. But I think I prefer the toilet paper. Well, the American, he's heard those Irish fellas love their Guinness. He goes to Dublin.
Get this one off and keep this one
He
off.
loves those Guinnesses. Those Irishmen, they love it. So he goes into the first pub and he holds up a $100 bill. $100, 20 of you fellas can drink 10 Guinnesses in 10 minutes. I hear you good. No takers. Except one. Can I think about it? He disappears, he comes back 2 minutes later. Is the bet still on? So they're all clapping and cheering as he downs the last Guinness. In 8 minutes, 42 seconds. He couldn't believe it. That was quite amazing. Where'd you go? He says, I went to next door pub, see if I could do it. It was raining so heavy the other day. I went outside Smith's and there's a drunken Irishman in front of me. And he's got one shoe on. And I follow him in his sock is soaking wet. He's leaving little footprints as he goes on. So you know me. I says, excuse me, did you lose a shoe? He said, no, I found one. Now, the Jazz won the other day. Anyway, I was at the Jazz game, and you wouldn't believe it. You know people love getting tattoos? Well, this bald fella in front of me, he's got 1,000 little rabbits tattooed on his head. So I had to ask him. I said, why you got those? He said, well, from a distance, they look like hairs. Well, as you know, Joe, I'm from England. And in England, in the Victorian days, they used to have the lady teacher, she'd have a long dress on. And she's writing on the chalkboard, and it's all boys, little boys, all little boys. And one of them's looking, and he says, Miss? She says, yes. I saw your ankle. How dare you sit out of the class and come back for the rest of the day? So off he tries. So his little friend is thinking, he's just got down to school. So he's looking, Miss, yes, I saw your knee. How dare you out of the class and come back for the rest of the week? Off he goes. She's writing on the chalkboard. She drops the chalk. She's bending down. Out the corner of her eyes, she sees some movement. And where do you think you're going, young man? He says, well, I've seen this. I think my school days are over. Well, these golfers, you imagine being a golfer like me, and this golfer's stuck on a desert island for 2 years. I haven't seen anybody. 2 years. Then one day, he's walking on the beach, and out of this surf comes this beautiful girl in a wetsuit. So he runs over, so excited. He gets chatting to her. And she said, I bet you haven't had a smoke. He said, smoke? He said, not in 2 years. She says, she unzips her spacesuit. She brings out a little bottle of cigar. Unbelievable. He thought, this is amazing. She said, I bet you haven't had a drink in a while, have you? Not in 2 years. Unzip the other pocket. Little bottle of brandy. He was in heaven. Drinking, smoking. And he says this, and she starts unzipping a wetsuit. She says, I bet you haven't played around in a while, have you? He says, you haven't got a set of clubs in there, have you? There's a famous golf course in Ireland called Ballybunion. I always wanted to play Tom Watson, the famous golfer, his favourite course, Ballybunion. So, the funny thing is, you know, this American, he buys a little cottage in Dublin. And he's got to get some hardware, you know. And we have Home Depots and Lowe's. Over in Ireland, they have what they call B&Q stores, B&Q. He said, just ask the first Irishman meet on the street and ask where B&Q store is. So sure enough, he's there and he said to the Irish fellow, excuse me, is there a B&Q in Dublin? He says, I'm sure, sir, but I know there's 2 B's in Ballybunion. You've got to think about that one. Now, the Englishman is playing golf in Carnoustie. Have you heard of that course? Famous golf course in Scotland. And in Carnoustie, on the golf course, there's a little burn. That's a little stream that runs and meanders through the golf course, and it's called the Barry Burn. You know what the Scots are like? No soft refreshments. And the Englishman doesn't drink. They say, oh, how am I going to get this? And he looks at the burn. Oh, the water's not too bad, isn't it? So he cups his hand, he's just about to get some, and a Scottish voice, hey, laddie, come, forget about that, laddie, you don't drink it. But he didn't understand him. Translation. Don't drink the water, it's full of cow crap. He says, I'm English, speak English. He says, use two hands, laddie. Well, you know, two Irishmen on a rowboat. Two Irishmen on a rowboat, they're out in the middle of the sea, and they get horribly lost, and Paddy gets really mad at them before he gets to them. He says, oh, hold on, he says, let's just see if we can row over there. Look, there's a little bottle, let's go and see that. So they row to the bottle, and as they pick it up, as they open it up, a genie pops out. You know? Wow! And the genie says to him, look, you get one wish, make it a good one. And before his mate could say anything, Paddy said, turn the ocean, my favourite Irish whiskey. Boom! The fellow, he looked, he says, Paddy, what have you done? What have you done? He says, we'll have to pee in the boat now. The young Scotsman, he moved to London in the apartment. He's loving it. So his mum rings him. Hey, how are you getting on in an apartment in London, son? How you getting on? Oh, it's great, ma, it's great. But the lady next door keeps screaming and banging her head on the wall, and the fellow the other side keeps swearing at me. Oh, take no heed, take no heed. I won't, ma. I'll just keep practicing my bagpipes. Scotland again. So the Scotsman has been commissioned to play Amazing Grace at this funeral. He had all of the gear, all the regalia. And the fellow said, you know, it's at the top. He said, I know where it is, don't worry, I know where it is. But obviously he got the wrong address. He was horribly lost, panicking, trying to find where they're burying this guy, right? So he's driving around, and then he sees two fellows filling in this hole at the top of the hill. So he thought, well, I'm going to play out. I promised I would, so even though it's over, I'm going to go on. So he gets all his regalia on, playing Amazing Grace, the most beautiful song. He gets up to the top of the hill, and he starts playing. The workmen stop, and they're looking at him, and they're lovely. Stop. One of the fellows said, that's so beautiful. He says, in all my years of burying septic tanks, I never heard anything like it. This is one of my favourite jokes. This Irish building site. The fellow walks along and he falls down a hole, and it had two shovels like that. So as he falls, it slices both his ears right off. Both, he could hear, but they took him to the hospital. Anyway, he was due to come back in a couple of weeks, and the foreman warns him. He said, look, Paddy's coming back, but when he comes back to work, I don't want anyone to mention that he's lost his ears, please. So he comes back, and all having breakfast. No one says anything, no problem. Lunchtime, you know, they get their sandwiches out, and the fellow says, hey, I see your eyesight's better. He says, what do you mean? He said, well, you're not wearing glasses anymore. So the Englishman, English army walking through the Highlands of Scotland. Highlands of Scotland. Anyway, as the army's going through, there's a fellow at the top of the hill, right at the top of the hill, shouting abuse, swearing at the English army. So James said, two men, go up and get him immediately. I want him down here. So they run up, he disappears over the bluff. He comes back shouting, worse abuse. Worse. 10 men, go get him, I want him immediately. They rush up as quick as they can. Same thing. Goes up, comes out, shouting, worse abuse. 50 men, up there, immediately. They run up to the top of the bluff. You can hear the massive scuffle. Pipe. One tattered and torn English soldier come back. He said, don't say any more. It's a trap, there's two of them. Joe, two old ladies sitting on a park bench. I don't know. Two old ladies, one of them said, she said, my butt's just fallen asleep. The other one says, yeah, I thought I heard snoring a while back. So the other lady gets her own back. She says to him, "Did you just pass gas?" She says, "Of course I did. You think I smell like this all the time?" I teach golf, you know. I'm teaching this fellow. I said, "Look, golf's not about your good shots, it's your quality of your misses." He says, "What's my wife got to do with it?" The quality of his misses, I couldn't believe it. I love it. You know, in England, you know, a lot of people smoke, of course, you know, and I remember they're so generous, always want to give you a cigarette, you know. We don't say fag in England for some reason. You know, they say, "Do you want a cigarette?" And this time, this fellow said to me, very polite, he said, "Do you mind if I smoke?" I said, "You can burst into flames if you like." Okay, golfer. Who likes golf here? Anybody? Anyway, I remember this friend of mine. He buys this brand new set of clubs, brand new. And he always plays his pal for a few dollars, you know. He said, "Look, I've just bought one of the clubs, but if I go on the gravel path on number 8, can I get a free drop? I don't want to mark." Fella said, "You know the rule. Players it lies." As luck with it, they get to the 8th, he hits the ball right on the gravel path, you know. Says, can I have a free drop?" He said, "No, you know the rule." He said, "All right. Just go up the top of the hill, give me a line." So he goes up the top of the hill, gets in line with the flag, this is where it is. And he sees this fellow taking practice with sparks. He thought, boy, he takes this game serious, you know. And he hits this shot right over his head, 2 feet from the flag. He said, "One." He said, "What did you hit?" He said, "You're all 7-iron." Golf is an aggravating game, right? Joe, you know how aggravating golf is. Well, this fella's playing so bad. So bad, Joe. He says, "If I hit that ball in the pond, my clubs are following it, I'll tell you." So sure enough, he tops it right into the pond. He gets his brand new clubs, bag, pool cup, lifts them up and hurls them into the middle of the pond, best of it. And he walks up, and the fella says to his mates, "He'll be back. There are his brand new clubs. You watch." So he walked about 20 yards, and he turns. Sure enough, comes back. The fella says, "I told you to get his clubs." He says, "Come and get your clubs." He said, "No, I left my car keys in the bag." Well, the Scots, we were there, and they had a Scottish referendum. You know, they were going to leave England, be governed by themselves, you know. And they were warned. They were warned. It says, if you leave England, you'll become like a third world country. And the Scots said, "Well, I hope so. Hi, but don't get us all excited now." Hey, sorry about this one. Sorry about this one. What's the difference between a Harley Davidson, a Harley, and a vacuum cleaner? You know? The location of the dirt bag. I love a Harley. Okay, this Scotsman, I remember I told you about money. Well, his wife dies, Jenny. So he thinks, I better get obituary wrote in the paper. So he goes to the local newspaper, they all know. He says, "You heard it, Jenny died. I need to write something obituary." He said, "How much?" "Oh, £5, McTavish, £5. "Oh, not too bad. Can you put Jenny died?" "You get 5 words for £5. 5 words. Oh, brilliant. Jenny died, Toyota for sale." Okay. The Scotsman goes to the dentist. "How much for a root canal?" "Oh, $750. Right, way too. No injections now. No injections. $680. No dental assistant. No dental assistant. $520. No painkillers. No painkillers. $490. Oh, great, I'll send the mother-in-law in tomorrow." Okay. You know, hopefully no one has the stuff, or knows anyone, but we had this Bible salesman who had a stutter. And this new fella joined the company, and they said, "You've got to watch the best Bible salesman we have. You know, so he thought, he's got to start, I'm better. So he went out, he could never sell, so he thought, I better go out and see what this fellow does. So he knocks on the door, and this lovely lady answers the door. He was nervous, the best salesman. And he starts stuttering, and he said, would you like to buy a Bible, or do you want me to read it to you? Now you know I'm LDS, right? What do LDS fellas take with them on vacation? The 10 Commandments, 2 $100 bills, and they don't break any of them. Now you see that picture, that's where Gladys and I got married. There, can you see that picture up there?
I did.
That's the London Temple. I want to tell you a joke about the London Temple. Now this fellow was commissioned to paint that spire gold leaf, beautiful, right? Gold leaf. They used to do that in the early days so the planes kept crashing in. So gold leaf. So that's all his lattice is about, 90 feet high. So he starts painting this beautiful gold leaf on the temple. And he gets about 2 inches from the top. He starts to notice he's running out of gold leaf paint. And he's got some thinners, he thought. So he mixes some thinners, because he looked at those ladders all the way down and thought, forget that. And he starts like, well, not too bad. He gets an inch from the top, and a voice from heaven says, repaint, and thin no more. Well, Glad and I, you know, I remember she told me this story. When she's on a mission, young fella learning Spanish, and his Spanish was not too good, you know. Anyway, he's up there giving a talk, and his missionary companions in the front row making fun of him, you know. And he got so embarrassed, so red, and he said, "Me embarazado," and that means pregnant in Spanish, embarazado. Me embarazado, and my companion in the front row is responsible. All right, I think that was about 26 jokes, and I can't think of any more. Did you enjoy the jokes, everyone? Thank you. Okay, if they want to come more like an encore, you know. I was going to leave this one out, but you know. One more joke. So, it was at the funny farm, you know, the crazy house. And there's a lot of fellas in there, and you'd think they're normal, right? And a lot of them wanted to get out, of course, you know, and the inspector would go round to each house, see what they're doing, you know, see who's ready to come out of the facility. So he goes in the first house, and there's a fella on the ceiling. And the other fella's right in the desk. He says, "What's he doing up there?" He says, "He thinks he's a light bulb." He says, "Light bulb? Yeah, why do you get him down?" He says, "What, I'm right in the dark?" As soon as he's walking out, he sees two more. One's got a flashlight, and he's shining it up in the sky, and he says to the other, he says, "I bet you can't climb up this beam." He said, "Don't be silly, don't be foolish. You'll only turn it off when I'm halfway up." So he goes to the next, on his way to the next home. And then there's this fellow that's talking to him so normal. He says, "Look, I've been here for 10 years. I should never be here." And he's talking. He says, the fellow says, "I can see you. You're just normal." He says, "I'm going to put a special letter, and I'm going to actually see the president, and we'll see if he can get you out of here." So as he's walking away, the fellow picks up a brick. He throws it, hits the fellow right in the back. He says, "Don't forget to tell him." And that's the end.